Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. It's that time of the week, the official football podcast 411 on the 442, where tactics meet the truth. And I go by the name Ski to the Wa, simply Sdoba. I'm not alone. I go again with my co-host, and I'll let him take over and introduce himself. Uncle Melo.
Oh, good.
Simply done. Uncle Melo, how you been, man?
Oh, good, man.
You been good?
Oh, good.
The week?
Football-wise,
Yeah.
It's always interesting to see developments that take place. Like we started last week with the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
We're finally on to the semi-finals now.
Yeah.
So I think that's
something good.
Yeah, it's something good. We had our COSAFA team. The girls are doing, I think, Zone 5 games. They won on Friday.
Well done.
I think the boys... Oh, no, not Friday, yesterday.
Yeah.
And the boys are playing today, if I'm not wrong. The mares are playing later today. So it was quite a week.
Funny you speak about the young mares and the young zebras, because that's something that I want to be talking about, the youth structure within the country, right? Because the youth structure is something very big. It's something that without the youth in football, you can't play at all.
True.
Right? True. So these are the kids that you need to be taking or looking after, because they are future ballers, they are future guys who are going to play in the national squad. And I mean, within the BFA, what's your take on the youth structure? Is it something that is it good? Is it okay? Is there even a youth structure in your eyes?
It could be better if there was a pathway that was simplified and on paper everybody knew about it. I think generally in our country we have too many great initiatives we just don't implement.
Yes.
We don't implement well.
Yes.
I think from my time there was Rababanaha. It was very good.
Very good.
Right?
The Champions League.
Yes,
very good too.
And then now we have the grassroots initiative. You know Brapo, right?
For music?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
What he's doing with the GAPS region is amazing, but
yes.
Do we have the same elsewhere, right? Do we have the same initiative in other regions?
Yeah. And
so my call would be, let's put together these initiatives into implementations. That way we have a standardized development of a player from your under 9s to your under 17s before they get into the elite structures.
And with these kids, where are they playing, if you are to say? I mean, there are private academies, right? And then you have your teams that have academies. Mm-hmm. For me, growing up, I played at Notwani, and that structure was very good, my brother. There was a match commissioner at a game before every game. They had blue books, so there was no cheating, there was no default players, and it ran smoothly. I mean, for me, I've been in the youth system now 3 years coaching, and in all 3 years, the league has not finished. The league has not finished, where when you say it's done, kids don't have trophies, kids don't have medals, and the trip to Cape Town, kids don't go. So for me, it's I hear you when you say it's good, but we're not doing enough for these children. Well, in my eyes, we're not doing enough, and there's a big gap, because you then want these kids to actually become the players that are going to represent the zebras. But if we're not looking after all of them, like we spoke last week, they fall through the gaps, right? And I always say, like we also spoke, there has to be a TD of this youth structure. So what is his job? And this man or this lady, are they really qualified for the job in your eyes?
Things are much better later when they are right? So if you get these kids used to winning things, I know generally we like to say at youth structures, winning shouldn't be a thing.
But it's motivation, right?
It's motivation.
Yeah.
So when the league starts and then it doesn't finish, you don't give them the satisfaction of actually winning the league.
Yes.
They're not used to winning things, because they things just finish up, they fade away. Then they start again, things fade away. So if we got these young players used to winning things, they generally grow up with the hunger of winning things. They get to your under 17s and they're still not winning things. So you talk about, are these people that are in charge qualified?
Yes.
It's not really about qualification. Like I was saying last week, I think it was just a conversation we had. It comes from the ambition of our leaders. What are we trying to achieve with these groups,
BFA,
right? So when we have that ambition from the top, it's always going to be implemented by us on the ground. Because ambition goes a long way. If you say, I want this group to at some point represent the country, then you give your best for this group. You say they are going to get the best coaches available to them. They are going to get the best facilities available to them. They're going to get the treatment they deserve. They win the league, they need to get medals. They win the league, they need to get trophies. They need to be recognized. If we say the team that wins the league gets to a trip in Cape Town where there's the best academies, we need to give them that. So that at some point we are happy to say we made that happen. But if we don't have that ambition, we let things run on autopilot, and then suddenly we expect a good player to come out of that good structure. It's not going to happen.
It's actually quite stone age mentality in my eyes. For the way I finally speak about recognition to my brother, because recognition is something I feel a lot of kids don't get within this youth structure, right? There's this chat. I've had this chat with so many coaches where they say private academies, like where kids pay to be taught how to play football or coached, those kids don't know football. Right, that's the chat in localized. And the way I see it as really not being broad perspective, because a player has to be cognitively smart to think about how to get out of situations. Now, if they're not doing well at school, right, because now for me the public education system is not where it should be right now. So I believe that, and not to put a bad name on public schools, I believe that they're not getting the best education, right? So it translates to then their sports and their lifestyle and all that. Whereas these kids, they know that if I get good grades and play good football, I can get a scholarship maybe to play in the USA or the UK. So they really do try. And I'll give context. Last year, Coach Mike, a man I used to work with, FC45, his team finished first in the under-15 league, undefeated. My team finished second, undefeated. Then we finished second undefeated because we drew the games, right? And the team beat us because of goal difference. Then it went to regionals. My boys got taken there, 7 under-17s, 5 under-15s, then 5. When they get there, they get told that they can't play football because they go to academies that pay. But these are kids who won the league under-15 and finished second under-17. So then already they're demoralized and they think about football in a different light. And for me, that is wrong in terms of the way these coaches are thinking, Mr. Dumelo. I don't know what is your take on it. I believe that gatekeeping. I
mentioned this last week, where we get to represent, whether it's the country or regions. It's always selection based on who you know and who you don't know. The coaches, we've been part of national or regional setups for years. So you've got to be friends with him so that your boys can go play there. You understand? Which is unfair, which takes away the whole point of development, the whole point of competition. You remember when last week I spoke about attributes that we want to see at national level. When you have those in your team and you know this young boy ticks 8 out of 10 boxes, he qualifies to challenge for those positions there. And then he's put aside because he's from an English medium setup. That takes away the whole effort of you coaching him. It takes away his effort that he puts in throughout the season to be recognized. And that's given to a player that most times least deserving. And then it goes to the higher groups, and then it goes to the national teams. And then we expect national team coaches to give us medals and trophies when we have this culture has been normalized from young groups where it's about who you know that qualifies to be in the national team.
I also don't know if this would be correct for me to say. I believe also it's a case of, back in the day, youth games, I think most coaches were volunteers, right? So most of the time it was coming out of the pocket of the coach, that you have this team and you're running it, or the society or the club itself. Then it got a point where it now evolved, and then now you need a license. When you have a license, you have to get paid for it because we're not babysitters. So it became a point of I wouldn't call it jealousy. I'll call it maybe it's maybe a bit of bereavement.
I've suffered and you're not suffering.
Yes, and you're suffering to see how we grew this game of youth football. So now you're coming and you're pushing your kids with your mandate. They might be good, but because we are on top here, we're gonna close you out. And like we've spoken, it leaves a lot to be desired. Leaves a lot to be desired. Because only then when the boys go out there does it show that these boys are actually quite brilliant.
I think what the problem with our youth structures is where we leave it to be like if this was structures, these were structures from the teams in the league.
Yeah.
Then there'll be better management.
Yes.
And
yes.
if it was managed properly by the regions,
yes.
then there'll be better management. I don't know, in Gaborone alone, there's probably like 20-something academies.
Yes. Yes.
How do we keep track of
all those kids?
All those
kids, yes.
When there's so many academies, because you feel like, okay, I'm here and there's no academy here, and then you go open up your own
academy. Yes.
You understand? And so it creates too many variables when it's not. Sometimes the structure needs to be
governed properly, yeah, or short formatted, like you say.
Right, it needs to be lean for it to work. You take, for example, Gaborone region alone. When you want to select Gaborone region players, you take 3 days.
Yeah.
If you're to look at all the players, you take 3 days. But if you said there's only going to be 20 academies and gaps or 15 academies and gaps, that means in these academies, we are going to have 30 players in each academy.
Yes, at each age group.
Those 30 players are not going to be just any other player.
Yeah.
They're going to be good players.
Yes.
Meaning, as we go, we are cutting off unnecessary baggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unnecessary baggage delays you from. Imagine having, you know how in pre-season you have 40 players coming to training.
Yeah, you do.
You see,
a lot of them.
It destabilizes everything because you're not seeing that good quality because there's the next one that you need to play. You see. So now at these academies, there's a lot of kids.
Yes. Yes.
Because we're not managing them well. We're saying we're open. You have an academy where people pay to bring kids.
Yes.
You're not going to keep your kids to be a standard 20 players.
Yes.
Because you want money.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But if it was under a structure that manages the whole thing, where it's not coming from your pocket,
yeah.
because you are running, you're not babysitting.
Yes.
Then they would know we're taking 25, 30 players under 9s, we're taking 20 players under 15s, yeah. And then we're taking another 20 under 17s.
Yeah.
Then the players that qualify to be within that 20 are actually good players, you see.
Yes.
So now there's no waste of time and there's no dimming of the other light because you've got to accommodate another kid that isn't. Sometimes we need to accept quick that he's not a footballer, he's probably a softballer.
Yeah.
Rather than keeping kids here and then it's honestly a waste of time.
Yeah, and parents really do, especially at these playing academies, parents really do suffer from that, being told that their kids aren't footballers or being told that maybe there's a different avenue that they should try and take and like you say, it is hard. It is hard. I do acknowledge the fact that it is hard. Even for them back then, it was really hard because, you know, you look at the players that did come out from those youth structures back then, they were actually quite good. And these men, they really did take the time. The way you put it with us today, you touched on the fact that you would want to play your kid because he's paying and you have to accommodate that. So you'll have kids that are 60 and under 13 and you can't coach them all. Not even 4 coaches with a short time of training. So then you lose a lot out. And I will then say, then why doesn't the BFA notice this and say that, okay, guys, let's mandate, instead of all of this, let's mandate it down to 20 because this is what we want, right? And then from that, they can get this structure with the whole referees also, because referees are also a big problem with the youth game. You will have a 10-year-old refereeing an under-17 game, and really that can just not work anyway, right? So these are the things that they will have to really get into place, you know, to make sure that this thing works. And the money, where it would come from, I believe it's already there. It's just being misused within the wrong aspects. I don't know what's your take on the money within the youth game.
It is. Another thing being unnecessary camps, like you were saying.
Yes.
There's always camps. But when you talk about why the BFA is not doing these things, some of these things are systematic. So when they don't work, somebody benefits.
Yes.
You see, so some things are intentional. You do know that FIFA grants
grants money.
Association.
Yes.
Right? The bulk of the money is grassroots development.
In all associations,
in
or
all
just African
associations.
everywhere around the world. Right.
Last week when I spoke about Morocco, the grants that went to Morocco were all diverted to youth development. That's what they decided. That the grants we get from FIFA will be going to youth development. Yes. The grants BFA get, maybe they're directed elsewhere because they're not. There's I think 2017, 18, there was a development fund that was paid out, and we still don't have pitches. At all? At all.
Who was it paid out to?
The association.
Who was in charge?
It was a FIFA grant.
A FIFA grant?
Yeah, for structural development. We still don't have pitches.
Of anything from that?
No.
I've seen balls.
All our development games.
Yeah.
Apart from these private school academies, are played in Botswana, US.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So that's it. You then get a kid, you're trying to teach him attributes of receiving and passing, but he still got to struggle with having to learn to play momo clubbing, and then next week or some more graveling, the other week. Now they're not getting used to what you're trying to teach them because there's other things to consider for that kid. You see, so you look at in our division, whenever we have games in Likidi, we knew that those are going to be quality games.
Yes.
You know why? Because all our players know how to do the basics of football, but they play 90% of the time on these rough pitches.
Yes.
So when they go there, everybody's enjoying football. Now imagine you had a 9-year-old that actually enjoys football because they play on
turf,
good grounds.
Quality surface, yes.
Understand? So that 9-year-old doesn't have to struggle because you are not happy with him being poor with the first touch because they don't get disappointed themselves because they couldn't control that ball. Not because they don't know how to control the ball, but because they're struggling with the ground. But you get money paid into an association to deal with these things, and money ends up elsewhere.
Somewhere else.
So, like I was saying, it's always the ambition of the leaders. If they wanted things to be better, things would be better. I was coach of under 17 rollers. For the time I was there, all the games, there was never a
first
aid team there.
Yes.
But we're dealing with kids.
Yes.
You are asking parents to trust you with their kids.
Yes.
But you have no idea how to deal with an injured kid. And our medical facilities generally in the country are so poor that you get there with a kid in an emergency, you're going to spend 5, 6, 7 hours with the kid in emergency.
Yes.
And now a 5-year-old can't join your academy because the parent is going to say, yes, I know he's good. I've seen the touches, but he can't come to you because you can't take care of him.
My child, yes.
So then he's got to come when he's 10, when he's already lost.
The 2 years that you spoke about last week, yes.
Because now at 10, he's a bit livelier, right? So a 7-year-old can't come to the academy because the parent is going to question you to say, what happens when my kid gets injured and you don't have the answers? So they've got to come when they are 13. And then when they come when they're 13, they find 60 other players because we can't just
discard the kids.
You see. So it's these things, like I'm saying, they build up to the problems we have now where we still have 37-year-olds representing us at the national teams. It's because of these small things. You can't have kids playing and there's no first aid.
First aid kit, no proper reffing, no match commissioner. Because at 17, 16, 15, 14, although we say they're still developing, they're also now competitive in nature. So sometimes the way the games turn out, they need not me as coach of my team and you coach as your team to try this barrack, but somebody from the region or the associate to say, guys, this is not how children should be playing football. right? So get it together, or we'll disband both your academies. I know the academy.
The safeguarding we talk about,
yes.
when you get your certifications to coach, that's a safeguarding course,
course, yes.
But is it only our responsibility as the coaches to safeguard the environments in which the players play in, or we need to pull together?
Yes,
like I could do my best to keep my players under control. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But what happens when he's injured? That means somebody is negligent because the kid is not getting immediate help. So when somebody pulls and then the other one just doesn't pull, there's no point at the end of the day of even trying to put that in place.
So like you're saying, it really, the point is guys, we talk about youth structures. BFA, please do better. These are your kids too, not only ours. They need your support just as much as we do. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying all of us just need to do better.
There's like I was saying, there's good initiatives. Sometimes, and implementation is poor. You look at your School of Excellences.
Yes.
That's a great initiative. But how are we running it? You take, for example, Mogoditsane. Mogoditsane, they have the team that's registered in the 2nd division. You see a Form 5 student, a Form 4 student that needs to be part of the team. But he can't break into the team because there's still an out-of-school kid who didn't have a way of getting out of the School of Excellence. So if we had, say, a team that we could be registering as in the 2nd division, the way Mogoditsane has been registered, and leave Mogoditsane to be part of the school structure. But we couldn't because there's no school structure. School sports have been put aside. So if the school sports were active, the school team would be playing in the school setups in your BISAs, but for some reason
BISAs also bad.
Right. So when you have a team that's registered in the Division 2 or whatever, then these kids can always be promoted to that team after school.
But then now that team is the one in the league.
That team is the one in the league. And when that team is the one in the league, they are competitive. So when they are competitive, that means they can't just let go of players after school. But then that Form 4 kid can't break into the team because he's still new and we need to compete for the league. So we're not going to bring you on. So the whole aspect of it being a school of excellence
has kind of just gone out the window. You can now get team here, but it's a men's team now.
You understand? So now we have Mogoditsane competing for the league as a school. That Form 4 can't break in. So that Form 5 has to wait, the school leaver has to wait till somebody recognizes him for him to go, and then opens the gap for the other Form 4 student. Like if you there's a young kid who was in Mogoditsane who went to Petras, who went to Santos.
Flamingo Santos.
Yes. My man, that kid is amazing. I saw him once, we were playing against them, and for some reason we always had a solution. Like I would recognize our problem is that number 8. So we have a solution for that. We played against that kid. He's a CDM. We never had a solution the whole game.
He was always a bit better.
We create a solution. He goes against it. You understand? And so after that game, I knew that this kid shouldn't be here. He should be elsewhere. And then he goes to Santos. He has an amazing season at Santos. He still doesn't get an under 20 call-up. He doesn't at least get to be part of the Kosapa team.
Yes.
Just to go be there and have an experience. He doesn't. And 2 years later, he'll be playing Sunday soccer and would always be saying what happened to that kid. I've just been speaking to you about there's a kid what's Tuso's academy?
City and Stars.
Yes, sir. I saw that kid 2 years back, last year. He was in the under 13s, I think, and he's amazing. Right? And so you feel like that kid shouldn't be here. He should be
in the age group,
And he still doesn't get called at the under 15s in the national team. because people are not going around to see
to
these
expose
kids.
these kids to see,
Right.
even themselves expose themselves.
So you talk about English medium and Tswana medium, and you talk about how these English medium kids know about scholarships and all.
Yeah.
It's about exposure.
Yes.
You get these kids aware of these opportunities that are there, but because we're not trying to get our Tswana medium kids exposed to these opportunities, or just to know that Peter was called for the under 15 camp, that means I could get called for the under 15 camp.
Yeah.
They don't get that opportunity, right? So they don't dream.
So one of our dream is just to play in the Premier League here in the country. Very strange, man. Very strange, because I'll then ask you this, right? We've moved now from the youth structure to that's in the men's game. But what about in the women's game, or the ladies or the girls' game? Where are then these teams that are now sprouting out, getting these players? Because I still don't see an all-girls academy. I still don't see a lot of girls playing football at the academies that I've played against. So where are these girls coming from? And then are we saying girls just develop faster than boys, so a girl just needs 2 years to play or to train or to be coached, and then she'll be good enough to play? Or are we just saying that these girls are coming out of, I don't know where, but where are they coming from?
I agree with you. I think I was with you that time. We just watched GU play against, I don't remember if it was Mazotti. In Likidi.
Yes, Mazotti, actually.
And then we then went to watch the FA Cup in the stadium. And I spoke to you guys about the quality difference in the quality. The women's game, the women's match, right now, the quality is so high.
Yes.
Compared to the
men's game, yes, I'll agree with you there.
Do you know why? Because you take a 13-year-old boy and you tell him, you trap the ball with the inside of your foot and then you pass with the other foot.
Yeah.
He's going to trap with the outside of that same foot and then pass with it. Because he feels like he knows football.
Better, yeah. That's where they're at right now, yeah.
You take a 13-year-old girl and you tell her, you trap with the inside of the other foot and you pass with the other. She's going to do exactly that. So the basics become better for them. Yeah. You tell her, after passing this ball, you move there to receive it in an angle like this, allowing you to do 1, 2, 3. Yeah. She's going to do it. He's going to want to receive it and turn here and get on top of the ball because he sees
Lamine Yamal
doing it. Yes. So I would say it's only because they are teachable. Yeah. Right? They are coachable. Yeah. They retain what you've taught them a lot better. You see GU, when I went towards GU, the girls, there's a way in which Razor wants to play in this phase of the game and then the other phase of the game. Yeah. They actually do listen to him. Now we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, right? And then you take, for example, a GU men's team. Yeah. You can't tell Messi Kamanyani to do 1, 2, 3. You can't.
Or Pokaswale, you don't tell them.
You can't. Because they'll tell you, I know football. Yes. The people at home tell me I know football. So it changes a whole lot. Yeah. When you look at the academies, like you're saying, the dominance is with the boys. Yeah. Because football is generally the male's game. Yeah. But because of interest that has sparked from the success of your Tolakele, your Busija, these girls have developed I want to see myself there. This is why I was talking about dreaming. So you have these young girls showing interest, but like you're saying, there's still no all girls academy. Yeah. Why? You wouldn't know. The BFA themselves are not pushing for these things to happen. You say every team that's in the Premier League needs to have an academy. Yeah. True. But we're also trying to grow the girls' game. Yeah. Why are you saying you need to have one group of the girls' academy as well for you to qualify to be in the Premier League? Yeah. That way you're saying you're forcing development of the girls' game as well. Like I was saying last episode, the mares are there, but we're not doing anything to get the mares back there in the next edition of the women's AFCON. Because the girls' game is still just operating passively.
And you know, I'll agree with you totally. And crazy you say that because the mares have qualified. Now it's the second WAFCON, right?
Yeah.
And the women's game in Botswana just started, Mr. Dumi. And for night to in this short process for them to have qualified for 2 WAFCON shows that there's something there. There's something there, my brother. And now, of course, we'll say the route to WAFCON is quite easy because what they play. I wouldn't say easy.
But is it?
Okay, I wouldn't say easy. I'd say it's less challenging than the men's because men you'll find it's a group of 5 teams. With the ladies, it was 2 legs this time. And Botswana, I think they played Gabon and Kenya. We washed Gabon and we beat Kenya comprehensively and automatically made us qualify for WAFCON. So the path is a bit less challenging for the men, but the growth of the women's game has been so tremendous that I believe from now on the men's will constantly qualify for the WAFCON probably more than our Zebras males team will qualify for AFCON. Do you believe that chat is true? Would that be something you could agree with?
I think I would differ in saying, in terms of resources, the Zebras should be doing better.
Yes.
Because everything is put towards the male team.
Yes.
And so when you see that the women's team is doing good and you're still not pushing for it to do better, that means you're just neglecting it. So then we should be demanding more from the Zebras because they get almost all the attention.
Yeah.
Right. When we talk about technical sponsorships, they are talking about the Zebras. Why am I saying this? When Mares went to South Africa after the Okasi sponsorship, the Mares went to South Africa in Umbro, but
the Zebras
all had Okasi regalia. You see.
So wait, okay, let me ask you into context. So even the ladies team should have had an Okasi kit.
That's what I'm saying. If the association is taking care of the females team as much as they do for the males team, then when they talk about technical sponsorships, they should be talking about both the national teams, not for the males to be looking for sponsorships for themselves. Which I don't know if it's the case or they were just negligent and allowed the mess to go to SA with Umbro when the Zebras all have Okasi tracksuits. You see. So it's things like that where simple things like the rollers women's team, they still train in G West. Kumamasire. And they walk from there to station to get combis to go home. The male team trains, gets in a minivan, takes them home. You see the difference? And then we get the mares qualifying to WAFCON, and we're still not changing these things that we see on a daily.
Wow, man. That is crazy to me. I believe that, like, it's a case of, like, I'll say it again, man. It's negligence, probably, like you say, and people just systematic breakdown of things where, like you say, if something goes wrong, people benefit. I'll also speak on the fact that the mares have standout players, women playing in Europe. I'll say it again, I don't know how the Turkish league is, but there are a lot. And you have a goalkeeper who's won, our goalkeeper, proud of her, who's won many things with Sundowns ladies team, you know, and that should just show you that these ladies want to grow, right? Now, when they get to WAFCON, it's a different story. That group is tough, my brother. It's very, very tough. They've got Nigeria, who's won this thing 9 times. They've got, I think it's Tunisia, if I'm not mistaken, or Algeria. Yes, it's Tunisia, who are also very good. And then I've got Algeria, who are also where we are in terms of football in the women's game, but are competitive. Do you see Mr. Ellis getting them out of that group?
Alex is a different sort of coach to the coaches we've had in the Zebras. He is adaptive. He knows how to approach different games, not with a generic system, how we go with a 4-4-2 to Algeria and then we go with a 4-4-2 to South Africa. experiment.
He's tailor-made for the games, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I would give him a fair chance of knowing how to approach these games differently and not really exposing us to the level where we lose your 6-0, your 5-0.
Yeah.
I feel like if we were to lose any of these games, it would be a closely contested match. So I'll give us a fair chance of maybe out of the 3 games, we come out with 4 points.
4 points.
A win and a draw.
Because I was reading, if I read the match-by-match brief here, we've never met Algeria before, so it's our first encounter. Nigeria, we've never beaten them, and the 4 times we played them, they've put 36 past us. Tunisia, it will be a fine-tuned momentum positioning with the group because Tunisia are very competitive, but they also have a freshly new team built I think it's under 23s. So I'll agree with you. I'll give you the benefit of that and say 4 points. But with 4 points, we're going to get us out of the group.
Yeah.
To qualify, third best placed team also goes to playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So do you think 4 will be enough to get to the next round?
I think so because it's a 1 game. It's not a second leg.
Okay.
First leg and second leg.
Okay.
So the qualifying team would probably qualify with your 7 points.
Okay.
Meaning 4 points would give us a chance of score well in the win that if we win, we need to win with good goals, like 3 goals. That takes us, it gives us a better chance in terms of goal difference in comparison to other number 3s.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so I have a good feeling about us, and that team has been together for some time now. I think the MES team has been together for, that same team has been together for maybe 3 years now. So the chemistry should be there. It's a good achievement to have achieved as a group, having been together for so long. So the chemistry should give us a better chance. But we're talking, like you're saying, Algeria has just put together a team of under 23. It shows what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
It's saying we'll have this under 23 team going there to experience this.
Yeah.
And then next time there'll be 25, 26. Then they are a more qualified team mentally and physically and just experience because they are growing together as a team. But we have under 20 team that's still just under 20. None of them getting promoted to the other team.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they're playing too well. The women
are playing very well as well, the under 20. Yeah. So you then see that we are short-sighted, and it's always our problem. Across the national teams, it's always our problem.
Man, I'm going to put you on the spot here now, my brother. I want to put you on the spot. I want you to give me results. All right, we play Algeria tonight, 6th July, right? Give me a result there. Win, draw, lose. Okay, I want to give you a score. I'll just say win, draw, or lose. Algeria, first game.
I think that's the game we win.
We win. Nigeria, second game.
The truth is we're not close to Nigeria.
Right. So then it'll be down to the game against Tunisia come 13th July.
We'll draw that game. Those are the 4 points that I was talking about, Algeria and Tunisia.
Oh, for me, I'll say maybe 2 points. I honestly don't see us going in there to win a game. I know I should be patriotic, but
it's not a thing of patriotism. It's a thing of reality.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I think maturity-wise, we're a lot better than Nigeria.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Nigeria.
Algeria, yes.
We are a team that's been together for a while. We understand each other. We play a lot better now. We've seen the friendlies. We're doing a lot better as a team.
Yeah.
So, and we have established internationals in their own clubs.
Yeah.
They are now starters in most of our teams.
Yes.
It shows the quality that we have even internationally.
I will just give you a few key players here that I think the Mares have. Benton, do you believe that she can go and then carry us like the way she's been carrying her team in Ankara, in Turkey, which is Ankara?
She's good.
Yeah.
I think that's one of our
key players.
Our really, really talented players.
And then Launa Molloy, do you think that she'll go and have a good...
Launa is with you,
yes,
right?
Yes.
She scores a lot.
Yes.
I think it was the game they won 15, where she scored...
9, was it 9?
9.
Yes.
She scores a lot. And sometimes players that score a lot change the dynamics of the game. I like to say barata ke goal, barata goal.
Yeah.
So sometimes player I think bolo e tla hela ba ithula ka lengwe le betse.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't have to hustle a lot for goals.
Yeah.
So that gives you a thing of, you know what, if we get 3 chances, Lone is going to score one or two. So for me, she's very important to be part of this team.
And what about our goalkeeper, Boseja? She'll also play a big role, right?
If I had a team that I have full control of, even if it was a male team, she would probably be my second, if not my first choice.
Goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Even in the men's game?
Even in the men's game.
Yo, for real?
She's good. If you've seen her leg work,
yeah,
it's better than most I've seen. She's amazing. She's good. I'm not even lying.
All right. I love that.
And she's good with her feet as well.
I actually love that you say that, because that shows that something is being done right by her management team and by Sundowns.
See, the thing is, she went there as early as possible.
Yes.
She's reaping the benefits of a proper structure.
Yes.
You see. Yeah. So we have these kids that are not exposed to such things. Not just the ladies, just the guys as well. They are not exposed to such great aspects of the game, where now some things just they let go of. But when you are experiencing such a great structure where your focus is football and your development and your mental development and your physical development, then you tend to turn out the way she is. She's great. She's amazing.
Yeah, my brother, man. As you continue this show, bro, I want to congratulate you on the season you had with the Crowns. Exceptional stuff. That has bought you a ticket to the regional FA Cup, right? Then with that said, and what is your take on the format of this FA Cup and the way it's set up? Because you are playing in it. Is it the right format? Is it too long? Should it be shorter? Should it be wafa, the straight knockout? What do you think?
I feel like it could have been, given we know how messy we are as a people.
Yes.
It's probably going to take too long and then it doesn't finish.
Yeah.
Or it's going to take too long and other things are delayed, like the league. So this whole thing of segmenting teams for me was a bit too tedious. Why don't you just toss teams into one game fixture and then we move on.
We keep knocking each other out.
We keep knocking each other out to get to the final.
Let me just try to interject. Can I just ask you this? So right now you're telling me that you'd have to play game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4 just before you can get to the actual FA Cup. You have a roller, say, level center chiefs. How many games do you have to play before you can get to that promised land of that FA Cup?
See, that's the problem. But if you give me rollers in the first game and I win, then it's an amazing feeling, right?
Even for the boys, for your team, for the fans.
But you're saying go fight with your Gaboronian strikers again.
The teams you play with in the league already.
You see. So it becomes a what's the point sort of thing. For me, I feel like it's also because we don't have exposure much, it gives rollers the opportunity to see my boys and be like, ooh, there's good players at the Crowns.
Yeah.
Let me take one, you see. Yeah. Then we've shortened the route for them to get to these guys. But I play against young strikers and we lose that game on penalties. These boys are done. They are never going to get the exposure to play against GU. They're never going to use. The English did that. I think the last 64 teams had to play playoffs.
Yeah.
But then they changed that the playoffs are at the lower.
The 8th tier,
right?
Yeah.
But you get to your championship, your first division,
national first.
They get to play those teams.
Exactly, from the jump there. Yeah.
So now you have gate takings mattering because you've welcomed GU to your small little ground where these people can fill up that ground.
Yeah.
And now you have an extra 10,000 to buy 2 players.
balls, equipment, bibs,
You see.
stuff like that. Yeah.
But you lose on that opportunity because you are still played against Bikabo, who la hona 50 goal game in Yaka every Sunday.
And then, like you say, demoralizes players. Even the journey itself becomes long and tedious.
It becomes too long.
Yeah, and
too long.
So let me put you on the spot again. How well do you think your team will do
in the FA Cup?
Yeah. Forget the league, the FA Cup. If I said the plan should only focus on the FA Cup, put you on the spot, how well do you think you'd do? With the crop you have right now.
If nobody leaves?
Yes.
Last 16.
Last 16? Yeah. Of the whole thing?
Yeah.
Ambitious. But I love that ambition.
The thing is, that team is... I've never worked with it. There's a thing, I've played football since I was 6. There's a thing that you know about a team.
Yeah.
Normally in a team, there's 5 good players.
Yeah.
This is out of 25. There's 5 really good players.
Yeah, exceptional players.
You see, and then there's us. But at Rollers, I had out of 23, I think, I had about 10 exceptional players, which was amazing to me because how do you
do that?
Right?
Yeah, and it's very rare.
But for the first time in my life, I got to work with a team that out of 25 players, you have 24 very special players and 1 very dedicated and hardworking player. So you have a complete team of amazing players. There's a young kid who joined us in January, 16-year-old, turning 17.
What was he? Was it an academy or a team or a school?
He was from Dinaledi. When he came, it was a thing of we'll have another player on the bench. And then first 2 sessions, training sessions, we're considering starting him.
Is it? Was he there?
So he was just an addition of, for me, which continued to be a surprise throughout the season, that these guys are actually really talented. So when he came and we thought, okay, that's another player on the bench, he comes on and first 2 sessions, we are thinking, how do we play him from the start? He then makes his first start, I think after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and he's a continued challenger of the first 11. Because
is he on loan at you guys?
No.
He's left already. You're looking for a team to play, and you guys have signed him basically.
Yeah. So now, when I tell you last 16, I'm talking about something I know is far-fetched.
Yeah, it's not crazy talk.
We've played Prisons and we played UB Hawks. I think we played Rollers as well. Just games that were organized.
And those games I did see on the social media.
And so they are fearless.
Yeah.
They go into those games knowing they are good. You see, and another thing is we have a really good coach who always tells them you are much more capable than you think.
Yeah.
So there's no fear in them when they go into games. I think it wasn't surprising. I think when I told you last week that we got to a point where we had to accept that we're challenging for the league, it wasn't surprising to us as the coaches, because we knew the sort of talent we have. So last 16, my man, I'm not dreaming. I'm not.
All right, then to get there, right, you must have, how can I put it, the proper training plans, right? Training plans. Is there anything set in stone? Because you've seen the team, how well it did last season. Yeah. So now this season, there must be a little inkling to say, we can get promoted this time. Yeah. So do you have a training plan set in motion for you guys? Like how some teams can go to Johannesburg, Rustenburg.
If we had the money.
If you had the money.
We have the money.
So it's more a case of your high intensity fitness work, right? That is some stuff you've been doing in your training plans.
One thing that I feel like we did quite well last year was having plans dedicated to our next 2 games. Right. What we put the boys through was what we're trying to achieve in the next 2 games. It's very unpopular, and
but I'm going to ask you about that, but now you've spoken about it. Yes.
But it's because we do not have the right equipment, we don't have the right amount of time required. So it's better to work with what we have and make it work than just saying, we don't have this, so we're just. So it's not a thing of we're going to go into a high intensity training to get the boys fit. You see, I actually had a conversation with somebody who was saying to me, the reason some teams lose the playoffs, the promotional playoffs, is you finish first, my man.
Yeah.
You are at the playoffs because you finish first.
Yes.
Meaning your team has been doing well. It's been doing really well.
Mm.
And then the playoffs are 3 weeks away. You put your players through rough training on prepping for the playoffs. Why are you prepping for the playoffs? You have a fit team that has gotten you position 1. Now you're putting them on inclines. You're destroying
that whole thing that you built.
You've been building. So I don't think if any one of our players leave, it's not going to. Yes, it's pre-season now. There's a gap, right?
Yeah.
But had that season continued into the FA Cup,
we
wouldn't do anything different. To answer your question, but now, yes, there's a consideration of he's probably played only 4 Sunday soccer games because also we can't control what season, right? Yes. Or there's you can see clearly he's put on 2 to 3, 4, 5 kgs. You need to work on that. Yes. There's also a realignment, recalibration of the mental aspect.
Yes.
They've been away from you. They've been away from the guidance you gave them. They've been away from the positive energy of having a team. So there's a few things to consider going into the FA Cup, but hopefully not to kill them.
To kill them. Yeah. So I wouldn't expect you to be like how you used to do, get put at the border gates
and then you jog back. One of the best coaches that I've played under, Machine and Tara, used to say to management of the team that I was at that he doesn't train marathon runners. He trains footballers. So even now, as a trainer, I believe I do not train marathon runners. So when I work on stamina or endurance, it has to be relatable to football. So that thing of putting players at the border, leaving players at the border, or back to
the pitch. Yeah. But just to give context to the folks at home, common elements across all camps, guys, should be the medical checkups, should be your fitness tests. You should have your friendly matches. Then you should have your new signing integration. That's something that's really important. You'll sign a player. You won't even introduce him to the team. You'll just throw him in, then expect him to gel. And then half the time, trust me, I was one of those players when I was playing youth football. I was just thrown in there. Nobody said anything to me. Then I got bullied for some time. But then because the coach liked me, kind of just stopped all that nonsense and said, put your head down and work. Do you guys believe in that player integration, that it's something very big within your spectrum of trying to build this team, which is the Crown?
The thing is, we decided very early the style of play we wanted to play, right? And so when we got players, like I was saying, there's a kid that after 2 sessions we knew
that he could play, ready to start. Right? Yes.
There's another guy we got from Division 2 team. I forget what it's called. Dino, we signed him in January. When you want to play a specific way, and just that way, you got to get players that only
can fit that system,
right? And so it's not very easy to bring a random player and say you're going to play this way. You've got to look, my man. You've got to be aware of who will fit this philosophy. And once that player comes, it's simple. You don't have to.
He fits like a glove, basically.
In football, there's a thing of players will be friendlier towards somebody that does the things that they've been doing.
Yes.
So when you come into a team and they want to play 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 and out, and then you come in and when I trust me,
they're going to...
when there's conversations had, you'll be seated there alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when that player comes and they fit like a glove, conversations-wise, relationship-wise, they just gel because they are part and parcel of what you want on the pitch. So you find it very hard to integrate other players because they're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Or they're good, but not in the way you want to do things. When you have a keeper that's really good in the air and using his hands and everything, but you want to start the ball at the back, and they're not going to be part of the team like that.
Yeah.
So it's simple when you make it about your recruitment.
Okay.
There's a way we want to play. So when we get a player,
yeah,
we're looking for a player that can do 1, 2, 3, right? So when we got Dino, like I was saying, we were looking at the fact that we were about to lose one of our very key players in the way we had been playing.
Okay.
So he goes, then we've got to look for somebody that's going to be as close as possible as what he was doing.
Yeah.
Right? And we're fortunate that after we got Dino, he stayed.
Oh, so now you have the best of Dino. Yes.
So it's a thing of now when you put them together on the pitch, they are already friends because he looks at him and sees quality.
Yeah.
He looks at the other one and sees quality.
Yes,
so when they talk football on the same wavelength. When they play football on the same wavelength. So integration is not really complicated.
But so I want to ask you about your recruitment then. You guys openly go out and get your own players at your team, or do guys come, or is there a scout? Do you guys have a scout? Because I'm hearing that you're finding these players that you want. Scout for yourself.
Because see, the thing is, when you're doing something and you're doing something right, you're going to attract attention, right? So of course, some players, I know you've brought us a few, and that's because of an appreciation of what's happening there.
Yeah, not true, very true.
So it becomes easy, even when you go and you find this young kid at a random tournament, and you're talking to him, you're letting him know, this is how I would use you if you come. You're speaking his language because he's in the same wavelength and that's the way you want to do things there.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel like you are, hey,
Don't think he's going to just use me then after a while.
I'm not the same player.
Yes.
You're working on one thing we really, and I wish this was a thing in every club, developing a system, get to know your players, understand your players thoroughly as the human and as the player. And then you develop a system based on that strength. Because the system where it's almost natural. It can only get to almost natural when you do it thoroughly in training. So when you have, as humans, as people, players that are committed or easily enticed to do something as a team, then they are going to be part of training from August to May. But when you have 15 players coming for training and then you have 10 for training next week and then you have 20 next week, then you are not going to be able to introduce the system fully and for it to be almost natural to them. So as people, when you understand your players, that as humans, they are committed people, then you can bring together a system that
works and
first desires some sort of commitment. And then when you know technically they are good, so I can play the ball, then your system is based on playing the ball. When you know technically they're not very good, but they are runners, they are soldiers, then you can have a counter-attacking system, knowing he can run from this box to the opposite box
and come back.
Yes, you see. So once you understand the person and you understand the play and you understand the squad, then you derive a system from that. So it's also a thing of when you then go to recruit, you know exactly who you're looking for. You are looking at that player that, okay, if you are a counter-attacking team, you obviously got to go there and look for
the quick break players. That was spacing speed.
You understand? Sure. So when you bring him and tell him, this is how I play, I want you to come help. It's not very difficult for them, right?
Yes.
But you get such a player, and then you bring him to a team that's on the quick passes, and then he can't track.
It becomes a big problem. The poor boys.
Now you've got to take him and set him on the bench because you were just excited to sign him, but he's not part of the team. There was a player that we had train with us in Germany. Amazing player, very skillful. Yeah. But we play on transition. We play on very few passes in the midfield to get into attack. Yeah. But he gets that ball and wants to keep it for 5 seconds. Oh. That's too long for us. So as long as you are very good, yes, you can go be good somewhere else because you're not part of what we want to do here.
So it's more system at the grounds more than player availability. It's about the system.
It's a whole. That's why I was saying I wish that was the case in all the other clubs. Yes. Is appreciation of the player strengths. When you work on your player strengths, like I was saying, we have amazing players. Yeah. We have real. So it's easy for you to and are teachable, are coachable. Yes. So it's easy for you to say, we're working on this and we're going to do it this way. And if it's not this way, then it's not the right way. Yeah. Then they first appreciate what you're saying. If it's not this way, then it's not the right way. Yes. Then they try to get as close as possible to the right way. This is why from the start of the season to the end of the season, we were a much better team because they continued to try to get better to 8B. If you look at our results and our up, you realize that from February until May, we would always score within 7 minutes. Yeah.
And then for where I saw it, I'd also see that, and then I'd also see a pile up at the end, goals at the end of the game. Where you guys are now really finishing this team off. Yeah.
Because, and our goals are very identical. Yeah. The good thing is we had videos. Yeah. Our goals are very identical because we had a way in which we wanted to score. Yes. So when we want to find a goal, there's a setup that we want to put together, and then we find a goal. Right? Yeah. I could explain the goal to you, but it will be giving away. So it's not really a thing of it being systematic. It's a thing of it being second nature to them.
To the players. Okay.
You put it to them. It starts off as a drill, and then it becomes part of the game. It becomes a. This is why now you start this thing in August. You have 2 players, 3 players coming in January. You cannot be teaching them. They've got to be a seamless transition into the system because you've been doing it for 4 months, 5 months now. You can't put it on hold and teach them. So you've got to go out there and get somebody who's going to just fit like a glove in this thing because it's a movement, you see. So it's not a thing of it being systematic. It's a thing of playing to your players' strengths and qualities. When you have players that are so good in the first touch, why should they be playing 4 touches?
So it should be 1 touch, boom,
yes, ball out. When we train, when we don't have restrictions, when we're saying we don't have restrictions, it's 3 touches. When we train.
So it's on, by nature, a grounds player should know that 3 touches or less.
Yeah.
That's the mandate.
This is why I'm saying I'm not scared of playing those teams. Yeah. That's why I'm saying last 16. Because, my man, we have amazing players. If those boys stay and we go to the FA Cup with them, it's a different team altogether for those guys to play against.
Oh, and it'll leave us to our last topic of this episode, the player profiling. You know, what you've just spoken to me about is exactly that, where you go out and you identify a player for your system, for your setup. So it's a case of player profiling. Do you think teams within our spectrum of the GAFCA or BFA, do you think all teams really take this thing that you're talking about that seriously?
I doubt. I'll give you an example with Center Chiefs right now. Yeah. There's an excitement of we have money, we can sign who we want. And that's usually the problem. You take, for example, forget his name. He signed for Center Chiefs.
What does he play?
Or remember. remember. He is, I think, almost 40 now.
40?
Yeah. 37, 38. He's old.
Where did they sign him from?
Let me find out.
Where did they sign him from? Because that as well, to sign a 40-year-old player, guys, is yeah, it's Botswana League is not that tough, but you gotta think about what you're trying to achieve when you sign a player.
I think Hendrik Moyo.
Hendrik Moyo.
Yeah. How old is Hendrik Moyo?
He's somewhere. They actually saw the post this today. Yeah. That they signed him.
They signed him on a 2-year contract. And you have he's a winger, right? You have, what's this young kid's name?
Fortune.
Fortune.
Yeah.
Where does Fortune go now?
Because Hendrik Moyo is going to want to play.
Yeah. Fortune goes on the bench. Fortune is probably early 20s.
Yeah.
He goes on the ball.
Because of you signed this player who's going to expect to play, because he's probably got on big monies, big welfare, so you're gonna be like, I have to start. Yeah.
Hendrik Moyo played with Bill.
Oh.
Yeah.
So don't you think
it's
that
not a thing of being a friend? I'm saying age-wise, he played with.
Jeez. So now this man is being coached by a guy he played with.
You see, so now my problem is where you have money and you are going out there to sign players because you want to sign players, because it's an excitement. Suwa did very well. Suwa is not all over signing players.
Yes, I've seen that.
They're not all over signing players. They haven't lost many of the players that I know of. They probably lost one, if I remember well. But they've gotten 2, I think now, with what's the guy from Rollers? Sagola, my boy.
That's a great acquisition.
And I always tend to look at that aspect of who are you signing and why are you signing?
Why are you signing them? Yeah.
So I don't like I was talking about it last week. Plugging holes. Are you saying Fortune wasn't good enough? So you're going to get a 39-year-old to come. And sorry, I'm not sure about Moyo's age.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's old because I've seen him play for so long.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
He probably played for so long because he started at 16, so he's probably 32. Yeah. I don't know. To me, I feel like he's too old to be. Yes, it's not guaranteed. Yes, it's not guaranteed. It's probably going to be assistance sort of in
like
the
how
bench.
Dizan was with last season. Yes.
But if he goes there and he's the starter, then you're saying to you're not good enough for Chiefs. So then Fortune says, why did you sign
him? Yeah.
Right. So it's a thing of, like you're saying, are we profiling players? But you also profile if you have an identity yourself.
Yeah, as a team. Yes.
If you have an identity and you are looking for somebody that can be part of that thing. But if you do not have that, then you are probably going to be this come on and another one comes because you are popular at the time.
For me, that's that menu syndrome. I call it the menu, my own little name, guys, where they're just signing players just to try plug holes, and we find ourselves 17th in the league. It's something that you cannot do, especially, and I mean, they're a big club. You have to know what you're looking for. To lastly ask you, when do you think player profiling should begin? At what age should player profile? At a 6-year-old should have a player profile. Do we agree?
Sure.
If he's playing football, you should know that this kid is well to play football.
If you have people who will not misprofile players, if you have people that you've taught how to profile, are they going to miss the right attributes to then say he is you tend to have, he's too skinny, so he'd be a winger. Right?
He's too tall.
He's too short. He can't play as a 6. He's too tall. He goes to center. And then we lose out on talent because he then goes to struggle wherever you put him. That's not his natural position. So first things first, we need to be able, are we educating people that are going to help us? You see, the thing with national teams is when a player gets to a national, it should be a player that's going to easily fall into the philosophy of the national team coach. They do not have the time to teach them these things. Right?
Yes.
So with correct profiling of players at a young age, then it becomes a seamless integration at the national teams, your under 15s, your under 17s, and subsequently the senior national team. But we misprofile players, and then you see him as a winger, Korolasi, Segola Meboy, for example. We get to the national team, he plays in the 10. So the national team coach sees he's probably going to do better for me in the pocket. And then the club coach sees him as a winger. They're not too far, the positions.
But the
results matter. Because the boy that you put on the bench for Segola Meboy to play wing is probably a better winger than him. And the player that you play in the 10, boy is probably a better 10 than him. But if you correctly profiled, then we have the best talents.
So basically, like you were talking about the player profiling, Uncle Melo, we've covered most of the lacks and challenges we face within the country to profile players. So how do you think we could then improve to this conundrum that we have when it comes to player profiling?
Like I was saying, put in the education in our profilers. I was excited when the minister said school sports are coming back. But then I was one of the first people to ask, what's the solution? Are we going to continue having teachers being the coaches?
Yes.
Because yes, he's a teacher, he has the passion for football. But is he going to be able to unearth what we're looking for as the end product in the later years? Right. Like I always say, it's about a thing of ambition and dedication. If we are so ambitious to achieve these things, then we put the right measures in place. Get qualified coaches to go out there and identify these players and actually put them in structures that nurture this talent. I can't then go and tell you he's a number 6, he's a number 10, he's a winger, he's a centre back, and then that's it. You have them on paper, but you're not measuring the talent. And then next thing, we realize at a later stage that our biggest problem as a national team is we're conceding a lot. Yet we had 6 good defenders that were identified at under 15 that are nowhere to be seen 10 years later when they should be the solution to that problem. We need to first understand our identity. And then when we do go profile these players, we nurture this talent in a way that they fit our identity in the end. You see. So I without proper education of talent identifiers, people that are going to bring out the best out of these players, because you can identify talent and then do what with it if you're not going to nurture it.
Very true, my brother, very true. Which on that note leaves us to say, guys, from me and Uncle Melo, it's a case of when it comes to player profiling, do your due diligence, find out what you're looking for within your own club, or your team, or your academy. And as the Association of Botswana, please let us know what you guys want within the players that we are coaching, so we can also make this whole dream of seeing Botswana at a World Cup work. Any last words?
I think when it comes to profiling, we would most probably, somebody would assume we're talking technical aspect. But we have a psychological aspect that we need to pay attention to. See, a player is it's like understanding yourself. When you can feel that I'm not feeling too good today, you are not going to ask a lot out of yourself for that day. Right? You do understand I need to I can't run because you see. So when you go out there and you understand your players, you then know on a day like this, I can't ask a lot out of them because I totally do understand.
So to ask you that, does that come from knowing the player's background, where he's from?
That's where profiling should be.
And then maybe if he's going through something, how his family's doing. So that should also be in the player profile.
It should be part of the profile. Because the social aspect, remember, these are players when they are in the kit.
Yes.
Outside the kit, they are humans.
Yes. They have lives.
They have lives.
Yes.
And the social aspect of their lives affect their performance on the pitch. This is why sometimes teams would have villages where in any case you need to
be from that village.
Lock village as in your hostel and everything.
Okay, like Naturena.
Yes, where at some point you've got to take these players away from their social life and put them here so that the concentration is not elsewhere. So you find a player that's worried, especially at development. You find a player that's worried that when I get home, this is the situation I'm going to find. When you want them to concentrate on the final tomorrow. Now they're worried. There's that situation at home. There's that fight that my parents are going to go through. I'm going to go back home and I'm going to sleep on an empty stomach. Such things. When you understand that background, then you understand the sort of player you're dealing with because you understand the person. So when then you want to do whatever with this player, you take into consideration the fact that there's this psychological aspect. So when we profile players as teams to develop, or when you profile players as teams to recruit, you need to understand the person first, so that when he says to you, I've got to be away for a week, and in 2 weeks we have the FA Cup final, he's got to be away for a week because he's got to go back to Maum. He's the sole take care of his mom who's not well. You understand. You don't say to him, we have the FA Cup in a week. And then you kind of make a training plan for him to go go do the until we are fully professional, we need to take care of the social aspect of our players. Because, like I was saying last week, you have, for example, a player ditching a good project because he wants to go get paid 20,000 a GU. It's the social aspect. Yes, because he'd rather have that 20,000 so that he can take care of his younger sister than working on your project. That project matters, yes, but his sister matters more. You understand? So profiling is also not overburdening yourself. You have a player that you understand, you are on a problem because he's going to demand this, he's going to demand that, and you know you can't afford such things. He's not part of your team. Just let them be. If he's good, then he can be good and be good elsewhere. Not here. Once they come here and then they become a problem, it destabilizes everything. So understanding the human first, then the player later helps a lot better. I totally agree, because even medical conditions, mental health is a big thing in this world we're living in right now, people. And the way you said, man, it shows me that you're a guy who's actually taken the time to understand this and the concepts of it. And, it's something that I wish all coaches, like you say, well, I hope they are. If not, they need to start doing it, identifying, like I was saying, what it is that you want in a player. What are your plans for this upcoming week, man? Anything lined up? Pre-season training? No, we haven't started pre-season yet. The plan was always to start that week of July. You know how our league delays, but then there's the FA Cup, so I think a decision will be made on that. But currently, nothing yet. We haven't started friendly tournaments. We haven't started pre-season in total. Nothing. So it'll be just the Club World Cup currently, which I'm surprised my team is doing well. Chelsea. The guy's a good coach, man. Enzo's a good coach. So you're very good. When I saw him, I believe guys who came under Pep Guardiola, when you're with a man like that, you might not win many things, but you understand football, right? So that man's good, bruh. I don't know. You see, I don't like coaches who are not experimental. I don't like coaches who are, I have this set on stone and that's what I'm going to do.
What if you bring results?
It doesn't matter. See, the thing is, honestly, you look at this. James was supposed to start the last game.
Yeah.
Right? James is a right back.
Yeah.
You have 2 new players that you've signed who are amazing, that are number 6s.
Yeah.
You're going to bench them because you believe a right back can play in the number 6. Player profiling. He gets in the 6. This distribution is good, but is he a number 6? No.
No, he's not.
He's good, yes. He can do.
He can do that long pass,
right?
Yeah.
But the other aspects of a number 6 lack.
Like the ball winning, yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So you want him to come because you can't afford to risk young players coming in to play for you.
Yeah.
Yet you were consulted. We want to get this player. Is he a good enough fit for you? Perfect, get him. And then he's here with you on the bench, and then you play a right back in the 6. If it wasn't for James getting injured, we wouldn't have seen Andre Santos starting.
Yeah, we wouldn't have seen that.
And then he goes on to have an amazing match.
And I cannot beg to differ there, my brother. For me, your team just signs too much. They've got now, what, I think 12 forwards. I don't know what he's going to do with it. I don't know what to do with it.
That's the thing. When you talk about a good coach, for me, I feel like it goes beyond tactical approach. It goes in as a leader as well. When you say, I want a striker that's going to score goals for me, and you have a striker that scores goals for you, and you sit him on the bench because status-wise, he's not as big as this other player who then scores 1 out of 15 chances, but he keeps getting to start because you can't have the balls as the coach to say, my man, I want this from this position, this role. Are you able to give me that? Yes or no? It's a no because you have 15 chances, you score 1.
Yes.
He has 7 chances, he scores 2. So he's going to start. But he doesn't have the balls to do that. You understand? He doesn't have the balls to say, I have a young player who I believe is good. I'm going to start him over you. You're going to sit on the bench, though you are my club captain. He can't afford to do that. You have a Doje Petrovic. He was on loan at Strasbourg. Comes back at the end of the season as the best player in Europe.
Overall, I saw that.
You leave him because you can't afford to drop Sanchez because he's the bigger profile. And you go to the Club World Cup with Sanchez, who at the end of the season had the highest number of errors leading to goal.
For me, I get it. Not a Sanchez. Maybe it's a Spanish thing. I don't know, brother. I don't even know.
I just feel like he's not a.
He's not bold enough.
He's not bold enough, and I lack the personality out of him. And for me, good coaches have always had personality.
Yes.
You look at your Arsene Wenger, you look at your Sir Alex Ferguson, your Mourinho, Ancelotti. They have the personality to be bold enough, even when answering questions post matches. Why did you do that? Why did you? Did you explain boldly to say, I needed 1, 2, 3 out of him. He wasn't giving me that, so I had to sit him on the bench. And I brought in this guy that I know was going to give me that. So when you lack personality, you lose the dressing room. And fortunately for Maresca, he has young boys.
Yes.
Right? If he had to deal with
Lampard.
Exactly. The teams we had in mid-2010s, early 2000s, late 2000s, where there was leaders across the board. He would have been sacked in December. I'm not lying to you. Imagine having to deal with Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney, Nemanja Vidic, Cristiano Ronaldo, Nani, or having to deal with Lampard, Makelele, John Terry, Drogba. You see, he's fortunate that he's not dealing with such
type of players.
He's dealing with young boys who don't have the balls to
actually challenge him.
You see, so had that been his case, you would see he's not a good coach.
Okay,
to me,
I guess that's your chat, man. That's your chat. I don't want to see you guys win anything this coming
So
year.
I was shocked we're in the semis.
hopefully that's where it ends. Hopefully that's where it ends. Just like the pod, guys. That's the episode this time. We have spoken. We have made the tactics meet the truth, and we have left you, I'm sure, with questions. So you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. And that's it, guys. From me, Ski to the Wa, Uncles Doba, and
Gamelo.
we out.